Um, hi. Hi.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, you guys. So I have Quinn with me, and she is with Rella Wellness. We're doing an event together on January 25th, which is next week, which is insane that January is almost over.
It
I don't
is
know where the
crazy.
time's gone. And we're just hopping on to talk about the event, about everything Quinn's up to, um, and just to say hi.
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 Hi. Yes,
How's it going?
very good. It's going good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited for our event next week. But I can't believe it's already almost the end of January.
yeah, it does seem weird. It is flying by. Yeah. We're like into full spring sports
Yeah,
season with the kids.
yeah,
So that's like what we're doing.
yeah. Do they all
Yeah.
do different ones?
Yeah, my son and daughter Drew and Madeline do tumbling
Hmm.
and lacrosse, and then Riley does dance and she just started track.
Cool.
So
Yeah, it's a lot.
all the stuff.
All the things, which means like you're everywhere.
Uh-huh. Pretty much. Yeah.
That's good. Um, Also speaking of which, like have and of just January, like overall, do you feel like with the women that are your clients that or just like interactions that you have with women in general, would you like say that they are overwhelmed?
Whew,
Is it just me?
this has been a theme. This is a theme
Yeah, tell me what
that
you
I've
know,
been
because I
picking up.
feel like other people need to hear that it's not just them besides me.
It is not just them and women specifically. I think that this has been a theme that I have discussed with, you know, not just clients or anything like that, but just friends and, you know, people that I am surrounded by, mothers and everything, is that like mothers specifically, we take on this load of motherhood and if that's also like wifehood and what that entails and like running a home and all of this stuff. um we take it on, and it's not only like we take on this physical load, but we also have this like immense mental load
Yeah,
that we take on. And then if you add on being a business, like running your own business,
yeah,
or um your job or all those other things. So we have like home tasks and life tasks,
right.
and then we have our work tasks and all of this stuff. And
Hobby, volunteer, or kids stuff that we get into because we're moms that we wouldn't otherwise be in if we didn't have kids.
yeah, but like, we have all these tabs open all the time. Where like I need to schedule, doctor's appointments. Oh, did I fill out the permission slip? Did
Right.
I, you know, I don't know, make sure that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and every single meal
Planned.
into foreverness.
I know. I'm so tired of that job.
uh, yeah, like that job can just go away. I know some people like cooking, but I do not.
I don't care about
I don't like having to think about what I'm gonna cook, then go to the grocery store and then unload the groceries and cook it, and
and like
you
if
know,
everybody's not gonna like it or be tired of it or like have we had it too many times in the last month? I don't know. I
yeah,
just
all the
a
stuff,
lot.
all the things. So yes, I think that I would say on a whole, we are females are pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So everybody's probably feeling that.
How do
And
we though like not fix it because it's not something, I mean, we can create boundaries, right? And I know that that's
mhm.
a possible solution, but like what are some ways that women can claim that power back where it feels like we're just, I don't want to say victim because we're not. Like we say yes to everything that's on our plate, right? But also like how do we claim some of that time back so we can feel less stressed and less overwhelmed and like we have to do everything for everyone.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's like a huge thing that I'm going to talk about next week. And like one of the activities that we're going to do in the self-discovery like workshop
Yeah.
is talking about um vulnerability, connection, and like authenticity.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how we can kind of bring all of those things together as a part of the solution to the problem. And it probably seems like I'm being really vague right now, but
No,
that's only because I think it is a complex, it's not just a black and white
right.
fix. It's not
Not
just
like
a
just
black
go
and white
have this
thing.
one conversation and all of that will be solved. It's not.
Right. Like this is all going to be okay. And it varies from like person to person, you know. For some people it might mean that they need to offload some of that to their spouse, and because their partner isn't, you know, isn't doing what isn't doing their part,
Yeah.
right? Like, you
Yeah.
know, they just get to go home, they just get to go to work, and then they come home, they clock out of work, and then they're off work, and they
And
get
out of
they
fairness, like a lot of spouses and partners are phenomenal and they just don't know that their spouse needs help. Like they have no, because a lot of women will operate like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and like just do it and like suck it up. But like, so they
yes,
don't know in their defense too, oftentimes that that conversation just needs to be had.
yeah, they're like, I didn't know you were drowning. And they're like, oh,
Yes. Yeah.
like I'm just totally like barely keep my head above water. And yeah, I agree. There are times where the spouse, and again, that's where it's kind of gray. Like in a previous relationship of mine, I thought that it was totally reasonable for me to take on all of the things.
Yeah.
So there was an expectation that was set. You go to work and I do all the stuff.
Right.
Well, then you have three kids back to back to back, and you're like, oh my gosh,
So many things.
I cannot do all of the things
Mm-mm.
because it's not possible.
Correct.
So, yeah, so I think like it is a very like, I think there's a complex answer that is, you know, not
Requires
necessarily,
exercises and unpacking and really evaluating and looking at your specific complex life because not all of us are the same and we all have
yeah,
nuances. And so I'm excited that we're going to do that. We're going to sit down and really take an inventory, I guess, of what we're individually saying yes to too much.
yeah, yes
Where we
to
want
too
to say
much,
no or whatever.
or if we, or whatever we want to say. So that's kind of like the premise of, that's kind of the start of the self-discovery workshop that we're going to be doing, is like, you know, where in your life are you having difficulty saying no? But maybe an even better question of that is like, what are you not saying in your life in general? It might not be yes or no. You might be like, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I want to
Yeah.
like, you know, knit blankets for the elderly. I don't, this is a random thing that's like going on, but like, what are you not saying in your life? And then we have to dig underneath that. Well, what is the story behind why you're not saying those things? Why you're not speaking up into that space?
Right.
And it could be in your job, it could be in your relationships, it could be in your romantic relationships, you know, friendships, whatever it is. And then how is your life like kind of stuck? Like,
Mhm.
and it's causing that stuckness there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
I think it's all stuff that we should be looking at, but it's easy to ignore. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, that just because you deal with, not deal with, but you support people every day that are stuck in some form, right? And
yeah,
like I'll get there. So it's common, but it's also like it's important that we have the tools to look at it, especially if it's things
yeah,
we want to change this year. Like, let's just look at it.
yeah. And I think that I love that. I don't think that I would have the opportunity to lead something like this without Empowered by Connection, like what you've started, because when do we ever, as women, moms, we're not moms, just women in general, like have the opportunity, like, oh, on this Wednesday night, I'm gonna go and just do something that's like totally for myself.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a lot of those opportunities.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this isn't for anybody else but for the person that is attending. It's all about doing some inner work, and there will be connecting that will happen there. And I think that'll be a wonderful part of it too. So,
I agree. And I'm so glad that I met you through Empowered by Connection and that we were able to connect and just and see the value of like not only taking your mental health seriously, but also taking initiative in your life to work on it and like connect with resources and people that can support you in different areas of your life. Like all of these things as women, like we need to talk about more because over and over. It's getting better, but like over and over, I see women who are pretending. And I say pretending because there's no way in hell everybody has it all together. There's no way.
no,
Like, I mean, that just like everything's perfect, everything's fine, we're all fine. And like that's the only image that is portrayed. And that's not real. And like I'm here to have the conversation that that's not possible.
yeah.
And that like it's fine however you want to portray yourself on the internet.
It's not, but it isn't
But it
possible. And it
perpetuates like
also,
this thought that like why am I not perfect and why
yeah,
do I feel like life is like not easy or fill in the blank with whatever the
yeah,
comparison game is we play. But I think it's important to have people say like, hey, this is very normal and common, like the way you're feeling is so normal.
yeah. But that display of, perfectness is exactly what hinders connection, because there's no vulnerability when you have a wall or a mask up,
Right.
because it's not real. It's not your real face. And so if one person has a mask of perfection or whatever they're portraying, and then the other person's like, "Oh, I got to put this mask on too because I need to belong," because belonging will
Is most important.
always
Yeah.
supersedes, is most important. And so they're going to put on a mask, and then nobody is connecting, because you can't connect without vulnerability. And you can't connect if it's one-sided. One person can't be open and be like, "Oh, I had this really hard day and just momming sucks." And
Right.
I
And then
made
you're met with like, that must be tough. I don't know what that's like.
yeah, then there's no connection. And then this person's like, "Well,
And
man,
there's
I'm
like judgment
alone."
and shame and like all the things. Yeah.
All the things. Yeah. So that's where, like, like I said, authenticity, vulnerability, and connection are like important. And that's where saying the things that we need to say and want to say, and that is like real to us, is going to lead to opening
Yeah.
up, those paths in our lives that are going to be essential for moving forward in the most healthy way.
Yeah. And having real relationships that are
Yeah.
rooted in connection and all of the good things that we
Yeah.
need.
I gotta jump off because
Yep.
I
Your
gotta
thing.
call.
Girl, I'm glad we
Okay.
talked and I'll
Yay.
see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.